Yo, what's up, guys? It's your boy Mikey Josh back with another video. Yeah, man. And today we're reacting to scary animation. But because there's some people out there, probably some of you guys, who think you can't be scared. Well, today we're gonna check out some animation, and hopefully we'll show you that you can be scared. So get your popcorn, your blanket, anything you need, and get ready to be terrified. Listen, if you're video, you have to drop a like and subscribe to the channel and comment down below on the scale from 1 to Peter Pan. So, yeah, because it's so scary, Peter Pan's. How scary was the animation for you? And without further ado, let's dive into the video. Started.
This was a Monday night. I'd gotten out of work at 8 and went straight home to hop online and game with some of my buddies. I had gotten divorced a few months
Alright.
ago, which left me with just an empty house and not much to do outside of work. So, gaming with my friends all night was mostly all I did, and I can't say I didn't enjoy it. Anyway, I knew there was supposed to be a big thunderstorm overnight, and there were even flash flood warnings. But around here, they pretty much send out those warnings every time it rains, so it was never a big deal. At about 11 p.m., though, I was in the middle of a game with my buddies when a sudden massive gust of wind slammed against the window next to me, and the entire house shook. I took my headset halfway off, and I could hear rain pouring down and the house creaking and swaying violently. I turned back to my screen to tell everyone what was going on, but suddenly my screen and all the lights in my house flicked off for a split
No, no,
second, then right back
no,
on.
no, no.
I saw I was still in the Discord call, so I asked if they could still hear me, but before I got an answer, everything cut out. My PC shut down, and all the lights snapped off. The whole house was dark. I couldn't even see my hands in front of my face. I felt around my desk for my phone, then turned the light on. Annoyed, I got up and walked downstairs and up to the
What
front
you doing,
window.
bro?
Honestly, it was hard to say if everyone else's power was off or not. I could barely see anything through the flood of rain that was pouring down. And most people's houses would usually be dark by now anyways, since it was so late. I quickly sent a message in the group chat saying I probably wouldn't be on for the rest of the night. Frustrated, I used my little phone light to find my way to the basement.
Basement?
I went down and found my old battery bank. It wasn't much, but it was enough to plug a few lamps into so I could at least have some light. I grabbed it and started walking back up to the stairs when I thought I heard something behind me. It was just a bunch of boxes back there, but the wind seemed to pick up as soon as I turned around, so I assumed it was just the storm making the house make noises. I hauled the battery bank up to the first floor and plugged in one of the lamps in the living room. I'm not sure if this is normal or not, but I hated going to bed with the power out. Like I had to wait for it to come back on before I'd feel comfortable sleeping. So I opened up the blinds and sat on the couch, then took my phone out and used my data to scroll through YouTube. An hour or so went by before I got curious again, and this time opened the front door to look outside. My porch had an overhang that blocked most of the rain, so I stepped out and looked around. The storm was still raging on, but the houses across the street didn't seem to be off power. At least a couple of them had a light or two on in the windows. Now I was pretty confused. I looked up outages in my area, but didn't find much info. I went back inside. Oddly, only a minute later, I got a text. It was from a normal, unknown phone number, but essentially said that there was downed power lines and to expect power outages. I had no clue why I got a direct text, though, and the number didn't have an ID, like from ComEd or whatever. Strange, I thought, but I didn't look much more into it. I went back to the couch. Again, I was on my phone. but more so to just listen to videos while I watched the storm out the window. But then I heard something from the other side of the house. It sounded exactly like a footstep on one of the creaky wooden steps to the basement. I'd lived here long enough to recognize that sound. I got up, but walked slowly and quietly over there, wanting to hear if it happened again.
Don't go
The house was so dark, and my phone light only lit up a small view
like
in front of me.
investigating.
I turned the corner into the hallway and shined the light down.
Really perfect.
Nothing
Guys, if you hear a strange sound coming from some part of your house, particularly if you have a basement, do not go near it. Head the opposite way. I don't care if it's raining, leave the house. I am not going into the basement when it's dark. You don't know what's down there. Anything could happen when you're in the basement and the lights out. When the power outage is out and you see other houses with lights on, do not go anywhere near the basement. Alright, man, you seem to want to go to the basement that badly. Let's see what's down there.
was there. However, the basement door was open, like wide open, and there was no way I left it like that.
No,
I
no.
walked up and
Oh,
shined
go
the
the other
light down
way.
the stairs, but there was no way I was going to go down there to check anything out, not with no power on. I closed the door. I don't think I had enough time to really think about what this really meant. I walked into the next room. Light from the thunderstorm flashed in the windows, but when I looked around, I found nothing. A feeling built up in me, though, like something was off, and my gut could sense it. I started to walk back when suddenly heavy footsteps came running up the basement stairs. Even behind the closed door, they were loud and shook the whole floor. Without thinking, I ran up to the door and slammed my body against it. Not even a second later, they were on the other side trying to open it. Once they figured out I was there, they started hitting it and ramming their shoulder into it to try to force the door open. This was a regular basement door, so it had no lock on it. I didn't know what else to do. He pounded against it for a minute, but when I pulled my phone out and started calling 911, he stopped. I heard his footsteps go back down the stairs, and I took this chance to get in my car and leave.
Exactly.
I tried to watch from the other side of the road to see if he left, but during the 10 minutes I waited, I didn't see anything. 3 officers went in and found nobody inside. He
What?
had left through the back door. What I find most disturbing about this situation is that we confirmed the text I received about the power outage was fake, like from a private personal phone. So whoever this guy was that broke in, he knew enough about me to find my phone number. He wasn't targeting just some random house. We think he texted me once he heard me go outside, probably knowing I was checking if other houses had power, and wanting me to not get suspicious and check the breaker box in the basement. There was no outage. He had shut off my power.
What's
That's
that
about where
creepy
it was
grin on his
left, though.
face?
No new info on who it could have been or what they wanted has been found out.
Those police lights are not police lights. Oh heck no. Man, that's a true story. Guys, leave a like for this man. Leave a big, big, big like. So this man gets curious because you got a direct text on your phone from an unknown number, and it was that guy. That guy has view for you, bro. Guys, also subscribe to Richest Man Good Luck, and you'll like let me meet that guy again because that was creeping me out. That was creeping me out. Like someone in your house. How do you wait? How do you even get? That's a point. That's a real thing. You that's a real problem, right? Because that guy probably has friends that can come into your house. You didn't even know how the guy got in, unless you didn't lock the back door, which is one of the most priorities. Unless you didn't lock the back door, you don't know how he got in. So yeah, it's a big problem. He got into the back door, but did he get into the back door? You don't know. He didn't. Did he lock it? No, he didn't. Did he lock it? If you lock it the first time, then you have a problem. But if you didn't lock it, then that's how you got in. But make sure you lock the back door last time because that is just not good. Because if he's in the house, he can lock the back door. But if you lock the back door, how did he get in? How did he get in your house? Let's continue the next one. Let's see the next one.
This was in spring of 2021.
Same guy?
I'm a 24-year-old male, and at the time, I'd been living away from my family while I was studying at an out-of-state college. Our school had a fairly early spring break, which meant I'd get to go home and visit my family. It was about a 2-day drive to get there, and mostly through long, boring roads. I'd take the drive over flying any day, though.
Why?
I left on a
Because
Tuesday
I got shades
morning.
on.
I actually woke
At
up
night?
early and hit the road well before I planned to, so I was doing great on time. I didn't have the route really planned out,
I
though.
wear shades
I
at
just
night.
had a general idea of where I'd be making my first
You don't
overnight
wear
stop
shades at
at.
night.
I drove almost 10 hours straight, only stopping for food and gas. Around 8 p.m., I decided I'd done enough for today, and at the next gas station, I
Pause. Wait a second. My dude think he's so cool with the shades on. He's driving. Yeah, awesome. Guys, comment down below. Who did it better? Comment down below.
around 8
Yeah.
p.m., I decided I'd done enough for today, and at the next gas station, I pulled up the map and looked for the nearest hotel I could stay at. I was in the middle of nowhere, but I knew there had to be something within 20 to 30 miles at least. Thankfully, I found one. It wasn't too far, actually. The directions told me to go down the road behind the gas station, away from the highway. This road looked very old and had very few streetlights that didn't do much for lighting up the road,
Yeah,
and there were no cars coming down.
that's not good.
I drove about 5 minutes, passing through a very small, old fashioned town, and at the end of the street was the hotel. It was a small building, just as old as all the others. I parked in the empty parking lot, then grabbed my bags and walked inside. The lights were very dim, like weirdly dim, and nobody was at the counter. As I stood there, I just looked around. It was so quiet. No kids running around, or TVs on in the lobby. It was just empty. After a minute, someone finally came walking down the back hallway, and she looked startled when she saw me. She quickly walked up to the front counter and greeted me, then got me a room for the night. I thanked her and walked down the hallway. She gave me the room all the way at the end. I unlocked it and got in. I didn't even unpack anything really. I just sat on the small sofa and went on my phone for a while. The room wasn't very big or nice, which I wasn't expecting anyway. This was clearly just an older and smaller, probably family run hotel. I remember just laying on my back on the sofa, scrolling through videos on my phone, and I guess falling asleep. I woke up abruptly to someone banging on the room door. I quickly sat up, shaken by how sudden and loud it was.
Is it
My eyes
the
looked over
lady?
at the clock on the wall. It was 11 p.m. Concerned, I got up and walked over to the door, opening it.
Oh, don't do this again.
Nobody was there. I poked my head out and looked down the hallway.
Bro, grab your
I
bag and
stayed
go.
there for
Get out of
30-ish
there.
seconds, really confused and waiting for someone to come back around or something. But the
Get out here,
hotel
bro.
was
Get your
really
bag and
quiet
go.
still. Everything was so off. I started second guessing myself. Like, was the knock even at my door? It sounded like it was, and I didn't hear anyone else in any of the rooms near me, but maybe somehow it was for one of the other rooms. I went back to the couch for a little bit, then took a shower and got ready for bed. I set an alarm for 8 a.m. and fell asleep. I really wanted to sleep good tonight because, for one, I was really tired, and two, I had another long drive ahead of me. However, I woke up again in the middle of the night to someone banging on the door.
Again?
I jumped up again, and this time I hurried up to the door. The whole room was dark, and I could only see the sliver of light coming out from under the door. I swung it open, but nobody was there again. I did the same thing, looking down the hall and listening. After a minute, I decided that this was too strange to not investigate a little further.
Bro, what? This guy tries
Tiredly,
to
I
leave.
walked down the hallway and to the front desk. It was just as dark and quiet as it was when I first arrived here. The woman was still at the desk, though. I told her someone had been banging on my door and asked if she saw anyone. The woman looked really confused, and almost as if I was joking. When she realized I wasn't, she then said that I was the only guest staying here tonight. I just smiled and said okay, then started walking back to my room. I don't think it had really set in yet. Like, was I just going crazy? I got back to my room and went in. I made sure that all the locks were in place, then got in bed. I just laid there for a minute, staring at the pitch black ceiling and trying to think about what was going on, before I decided to grab my phone from the nightstand and maybe watch a video or two to get me to relax. However, right when my screen turned on, it lit up the room just enough for me to see something in the corner by the bed.
No,
I
no.
jumped up and backed away from the bed. There was someone there, standing in the dark, in the back corner of the room. They were
Oh,
still, motionless, just watching me. My heart was burning from how hard it was pounding in my chest. I hurried over to the door. As soon as I began removing all the locks, I heard them start rushing up behind me.
nah,
Their
no.
loud footsteps against the floor got closer and closer
Oh,
as I finally swung open the door and sprinted down the hallway. The front desk woman jumped when she saw me, but her eyes quickly darted past me. The man was running up behind me. She started calling 911, but just when the guy got into the lobby, he sprinted out the door. He didn't get into a car or anything. He just ran off.
who was that?
The woman explained that she had no idea who that was, and that he should not have been inside the hotel, again saying that I was the only guest checked in for the night. Police came and did a rather quick investigation. The hotel only had two working cameras, one in the lobby and one outside, so it wasn't all that useful. The only thing we know is that the man definitely slipped into my room while I was asking the woman about the knocking. We don't know what he wanted from me, or why he was even there at all. I got my things and left that night, obviously not wanting to stay any longer. I still have no idea what that was about, but it was definitely the most terrifying experience of my life.
Woo! That is bad. Big time bad. You stayed in a hotel that is dark as heck with only two working cameras with the front desk there that it was only that you were the only guest there. You should know you were gonna be in trouble. Anyways, guys, I'm gonna end it for today. Don't forget to drop a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Comment down below on a scale from 1 to Peter Pan's. How scary was it for you? For me, I was like a 2 or a 3. One of those numbers, yeah. They're not that scary usually, but for you guys, you might got a point of view. If you get scared very easily, if you don't get scared very easily, you could have got a different point of view than me. So yeah, from scale from 1 to Peter Pan's. How scary was it? So yeah, that's it from me. Stay mighty. My Josh out. Peace.